Ray. What do you want to do tonight?
Same thing we do every night, Pinky. Try to take over the world.
Money is in consciousness, and it must be earned. Hello, this is Bob Proctor with another Power Principle from our Winner's Choice series. This Power Principle is on money, a delicate subject. It's a subject most people are reluctant to discuss. They are reluctant because speaking about it can attract severe criticism. However, you and I are brave souls, so let's wander into this misunderstood area of life. Lord Bacon gave us some valuable advice when he said money is a good servant, but a bad master. In developing our desire for money, we should also seek a balance of wisdom as well. Otherwise, the accumulation of wealth could bring with it the potential to distort our personality and rob us of our life. I have often thought it to be rather strange, and I should probably add sad, that the earning of money is not taught in our school systems anywhere in the world, even though money is a medium of exchange which is accepted and used worldwide. The frequent response to this kind of thinking is, why should we teach earning money as a subject in school? Everyone already understands how to earn money. However, that is not correct. The sad truth is that 97 out of every 100 people are born, they live and die without ever learning how to earn money. Their ignorance with respect to money is passed along from one generation to the next. Conversely, the 3 or 4% of our population who do understand how to attract wealth pass their prosperity consciousness from one generation to the next. It is time for the 97% group to wake up. If you are part of this group, understand you can learn how to earn money, all the money you want, and it is no more difficult than learning how to drive an automobile. The masses find it strange that there are people who have learned how to pilot rockets to the moon, but have not learned how to accumulate wealth. However, there is nothing strange about it. Being competent at one thing, regardless of what it is, does not mean that you are competent at everything. This message on money has not been made for everyone. It is intended for the 97 out of every 100 who want to earn money but have not yet learned how. This message has nothing to do with interest rates, investments, stocks, or bonds. This power principle is about the cause of wealth. Many years ago, George Bernard Shaw spoke out about money. He made a couple of statements which have caused numerous arguments. Permit me to share them with you. 1, it is the duty of every person to be rich. And 2, it is a sin to be poor. Well, what thoughts do those statements stir in your mind? What is your immediate reaction? So much time has passed since I first heard those statements, I do not remember if I reacted to them or if I sat back and objectively thought about them, wondering what Shaw meant. I probably reacted. Most people do. My reaction was very likely negative as well. I don't suppose it matters how I reacted since it was 20 or 30 years ago. However, you must admit, these are two very powerful statements. Statements you and I should understand if we are interested in earning money, especially if we are interested in earning money. Before we reject these statements as being ridiculous, analyze them. However, before we look at the statements, perhaps we should look at the person who made them. Knowing a little more about his life may provide some additional insight. George Bernard Shaw was born in Ireland in 1857. However, he lived his life, most of it, in England after moving there when he was 20 years of age. He was a dramatist, a music critic, and an essayist. Shaw became very successful in his field. He was, in fact, one of the most important literary figures of the last century. He won the Nobel Prize for Literature in 1925. You could very easily arrive at the conclusion, though, that a person making those statements had little concern for the poor, or that he was making fun of them. However, if you do the slightest amount of research, you will find that George Bernard Shaw was a strong supporter of the underdog. He was constantly attempting to improve their life. He was an early supporter of women's rights when that was not a popular behavior, and he attempted to bring about political and economic change through his plays. Because the subject matter of his plays was considered to be radical, it took years for them to gain any form of acceptance. Knowing this about the author, let's listen to those two statements again and attempt to understand them. 1, it is a sin to be poor. 2, it is the duty of every person to be rich. To properly understand what Shaw was saying, you must first have an open mind. Second, you must remain objective. And third, you definitely will require some understanding of the natural laws of the universe. These laws are frequently referred to as divine laws. One of the basic laws you must understand is the law which states, everything is moving. Absolutely nothing rests. You are either moving ahead in life or you're going backwards. It's grow or die, create or disintegrate. You are becoming richer or poorer. Now there's a second law which is referred to in many different ways. Karmic law, sowing and reaping, cause and effect, action, reaction. How you refer to this law is of little importance, but the understanding of how it works is vitally important. The thoughts, feelings, and actions that you express in life are the seeds that you sow. The conditions, circumstance, and things that come into your life is the harvest you reap as a result of the seeds that you sow. Hold those thoughts for a moment while we investigate the deeper understanding of the words sin and money. Sin is transgression of the law. Violating the law is a sin, and the price of sin is death. That does not mean your heart will stop beating, but it does mean you will go backwards. Remember the law which states that you will either be creating or disintegrating. You'll grow or die. When you attempt to get without giving, you are trying to reap the harvest without sowing the seeds. It will not work. That, my friend, is a sin. You go backwards. Now, let's look at money. What is it? Money is a reward you receive for the service you render. The more valuable the service, the greater the reward. Attempting to get money without providing service is a violation of the law. George Bernard Shaw believed you and I were put here on the planet to serve one another. Thinking of ways we can be of greater service will enable us to grow intellectually and spiritually. It is our duty to serve, and money is a reward we receive for that service. If a person has received their money in an unlawful manner, don't think for a second that they are on the right track. They must pay the price. You reap what you sow. You might see the money they have and the things money will buy, yet never see the price they pay. But they will pay. That is the law. Every thinking person will agree that in the light of the law, what Shaw said is correct. However, that is where the problem begins for most people. They do not think. And if a person is not thinking, Shaw's statements would appear very callous, even ridiculous. Personally, I believe Shaw made those statements the way he did to provoke people into thinking. The Apostle Matthew in the Christian religion did essentially the same thing 1900 years before Shaw. Matthew stated, "To him who has shall be given, and he shall have abundance. But from him who does not have, even that which he has shall be taken away." At first glance, that sure doesn't sound very fair. Matthew is saying that the rich will get richer and the poor poorer. People who believe that this is unfair are people who view abundance as something that is being doled out. To them, Matthew's statements would have to appear grossly unfair. If, however, you see abundance as something one attracts, the entire picture would change and it would be very fair. The prosperous person will be thinking prosperous thoughts and attracting more of the same, while the poor person will be thinking thoughts of lack and limitation. They too, by law, will attract more of the same. Quite simply, what Shaw and Matthew were emphasizing was the importance of our own responsibility in the quest for abundance. Abundance is something we magnetize ourselves to. We draw it into our life. That is abundance in every aspect of our life. Business associates, friends, everything we want will come into our life by law, not luck. You are either attracting or repelling good. It is your own consciousness that ultimately determines your results. I was on the telephone just hours ago with my mentor, Leland Valvandual. He said something during our conversation which stuck in my mind. He said, "The spirit awaits direction from the soul." Permit me to digress for a moment, because there's a great lesson here about receiving. The entire conversation I had with Val had to do with a very large project I am working on to help him. I was giving to him. when he made that statement during our conversation. It is a statement of truth which I will benefit from for the rest of my life. My new understanding, which has resulted from his explanation of the statement, will enable me to be of greater service to you and tens of thousands of other people worldwide. Now, think about what I have just shared with you. Who was giving and who was receiving? It will not take long before you realize we were both doing both. We were giving and receiving simultaneously. Every time I speak with Val, I learn something. I became aware of that many years ago. The man is wise. After you have a conversation with a person who has wisdom, do as I do. Be quiet and then ask yourself what that person said. 9 times out of 10, the lesson, which was hidden in the conversation, will surface in your consciousness. The Spirit awaits direction from the soul. That is power. Val's statement contains the secret to everything you could ever want. You will see this when you consider that you do not have a soul, you are a soul. And when you consider that Spirit, which is omnipresent, is waiting for direction from the soul. Think about that. Really think. And the lesson will begin to unfold. Now, I said earlier, and I repeat, money is in consciousness, and it must be earned. That is a statement you must understand if you truly desire to attract money into your life. I personally consider Napoleon Hill's book, Think and Grow Rich, to be one of the most complete works ever compiled on the accumulation of wealth. I have carried the same copy of that book with me for over 30 years. I read a bit of it almost every day. In the publisher's preface of the book, it is stated, Think and Grow Rich conveys the experience of more than 500 individuals of great wealth who began from scratch and with nothing to give in return for riches except thoughts, ideas, and organized plan. It clearly states that this book contains the entire philosophy of money making. Now, the point I want to bring to your attention is this. Think and Grow Rich has 15 chapters, and not one of those chapters is titled Money. In fact, the word money is not even mentioned in the title of any one of the chapters. The last chapter has 8 words in it, but money is not one of them. There's another great book about money. It's one written by G. Donald Walters titled Money, Magnetism. Mr. Walters has 14 chapters in his book, and not one is titled Money. The word does appear in the title of chapter 9, but listen to how it is used. How earning money can promote spiritual growth. Robert Russell's great book about earning money, You Too Can Be Prosperous, contains 8 chapters, and money does not appear anywhere in any of the 8 titles. A number of years ago, I wrote a book, You Were Born Rich. Sam Kalanick, who is the co-chairman of Metal Botanical International Limited, has ordered between 35,000 and 40,000 copies of my book from Bantam Books in New York. Sam is a beautiful person and is one of the wealthiest men I know. Sam uses my book like I use Napoleon Hill's book. He has tens of thousands of people in his company, and he is constantly encouraging them to study You Were Born Rich. There are 10 chapters in my book. It, like Donald Walters' book, Money Magnetism, has money mentioned only once in the first chapter titled Me and Money. Why do you suppose none of these books talk about money when the purpose of the book is to assist the reader in accumulating wealth? They do not talk about money for the same reason a farmer does not spend time explaining how to bring in the harvest when he is teaching his son how to plant a seed. There is a season for sowing and there is a season for reaping, but you never do both in the same season. Be quiet and listen carefully to what I am going to say. The paper you fold and place in your purse or pocket is not money. It is paper with ink on it. It represents money, but it is not money. Money is an idea. The earning of money has nothing to do with this paper stuff. It has to do with consciousness. That is precisely why all of these great authors who wrote books, which people claim helped them earn millions of dollars, never wrote about money. Sam Kalanick probably knows as much about earning money as anyone I know. If you listen to him when he is explaining to his people how to earn a lot of money, you will not hear him talking about money. You'll hear him talking about loving people, about helping people, and providing service. He'll talk about getting into a positive vibration, mixing with the winners, overlooking other people's faults, and helping other people get what they want. I know this all sounds kind of mushy. It may not appear to have much substance to it. But that is what all the great authors write about. And if you study, you will find this kind of information has real substance. I am aware there are books which instruct you on how to manipulate markets, manipulate stocks and people. They might even help you get money. But there is no spiritual strength there. And if there is no spiritual strength, there is no lasting happiness, no real wealth. Money in abundance should only represent a part of your abundance. If you want money, ask for abundance in all areas of your life. Then study, understand, and follow the laws for sowing, which will reap an abundant harvest in all areas of your life. There are laws governing physical health, and if you violate those laws, you lose. You are well aware that your body cannot remain healthy if you are smoking and filling your lungs with nicotine, drinking alcohol, or eating rich foods in excess. Everyone knows this type of behavior is not conducive to physical health. Likewise, there are laws governing the earning of money. If you do not already own the book I wrote, You Were Born Rich, I would suggest you get a copy. Read and then reread Chapter 1, Me and Money. You must become very comfortable with the idea of money. Now that may sound strange. However, most people are not comfortable with money, which is why they do not have any. Listen carefully to conversations about money. Most people will apologize or give some form of justification for wanting money, if in fact they will even talk about it. The average person's face will change color and their behavior will change when a serious conversation arises about earning money. None of this is so with wealthy people. Wealthy people are aware that money is a medium of exchange and they treat it as such. They respect it. They feel very comfortable with money, and they are quite at ease talking about money. They keep money in its proper place. They remain the master, and money remains the servant. When wealthy people experience a financial problem in their life, which is not uncommon, they possess the wisdom to focus on the cause of the problem. They make the mental corrections required and proceed. You rarely ever hear a wealthy person talking about their financial problems. Do you know why that is so? The obvious answer is that wealthy people don't talk about financial problems because they don't have any financial problems. This area of life is no different than any other area of life. The truth is rarely in the appearance of things. Wealthy people have more financial problems than poor people will ever dream of having. How could a poor person have money problems? They rarely have any money. Money is not the poor person's problem. Lack of money is their problem. If you want to solve a problem, you must attack the cause of the problem. The cause of poverty is poverty consciousness. The poverty consciousness causes a person to see, hear, smell, think, and feel lack and limitation. Listen to the conversations of individuals with a poverty consciousness. Lack, limitation, and tough times are all they talk about. That is all they talk about because that is all they think about. And that is all they think about because they have a poverty consciousness. Their thoughts, feelings, and actions are the seeds they are sowing. As you sow, so shall you reap. Their harvest is one of lack and poverty. Their harvest is the results in their life. The results are expressed in their physical health, their bank account, and their social life. These poor souls see with their physical eyes their physical problems. It's Poorsville for them. Their results control them. They keep planting the same seeds and keep reaping the same harvest year after year. Soon they accept this as their lot in life. Then they think, why should I expect more? No one in our family has ever had more. We have always been poor. It's not our fault. It's the government's fault. They should give us more. They should take it from the wealthy people and give it to us. They will never use all they have. It's just not fair. Now, the wealthy person has a prosperity consciousness. They understand there is an infinite source of supply. They are acutely aware of the fact that if they are experiencing a problem with the harvest, if there is not sufficient or more than enough harvest to meet all of their needs, they are the cause of the problem. Perhaps they have not properly prepared the land, sown sufficient seeds, or sown seeds in enough fields. They loathe lack and limitation. They demand the abundant, good life which is their birthright. And when they experience any less, they take full and complete responsibility for their position. Blame is not part of their way of life. They will not talk about lack because their prosperity consciousness will not permit it. They know that talking about lack is sowing seeds for more of the same. They immediately begin to brainstorm with other individuals who have a prosperity consciousness about other crops they want to harvest in the future and where they should begin sowing. Mike Todd, the famous movie maker who died years ago, once said, "Being broke is a temporary situation. Being poor is a mental condition." He was correct. There are wealthy people who lose every cent they have through a series of mistakes and judgment. That does not make them poor. They will have it all back in a short time because of their prosperity consciousness. Study research which has been done on poor people who win lotteries. In a short time, they have nothing left. Money cannot stay with a person who has a poverty consciousness. And by the same law, money cannot stay away from the person who possesses a prosperity consciousness. If you have any question in your mind regarding where your consciousness is, it is not difficult to find out. Be very honest with yourself and look at your results. Study the patterns in your life. Now, from this point on, our focus is to create a higher prosperity consciousness and to prepare for the abundant harvest. Begin by preparing a powerful, positive affirmation and fuel it with emotion. When you do this, you are depositing this creative energy in the treasury of your subconscious mind. By repeating this process over and over and over again every day, it will begin to mentally move you in the direction you want to go. Write it out, read it, feel it, and let it take hold of your mind. Now let's get serious. How much money do you want? Remember Val Vanderwall's statement? Spirit awaits direction from the soul. Spirit requires specific instructions. Saying, "I want more," is not good enough. $5 more is more. How much more? Decide on a figure. If you feel you need assistance, follow the instructions in Chapter 2 of You Were Born Rich, entitled How Much is Enough. It will explain how to arrive at the figure, but you must be specific. You should have the amount of money you need to provide the things you want, to live the way you choose to live, whether you are working or not. Now, you will not seriously want more money than you are capable of earning. But remember, you must earn it. FG plus E equals I. That is a formula you can use to become financially independent. I will repeat the formula for you and listen carefully. FG plus E equal I. The FG represents financial goals. The E represents expenses. The I represents income. So you set your financial goals, you add to that your expenses, and then you have the figure that you want to earn. Now, arriving at answers to some of these questions will probably take time. You're not going to answer them in 5 minutes if you answer them properly. When you seriously consider the positive impact this formula can have on your life, you will realize that it most certainly deserves whatever time it takes. The FG establishes your financial goals. How much money do you want to have in 1 year, in 5 years, in 10 years? There are only 2 ways to earn money. One is people at work and the other is money at work. You should be employing both. If you want to be financially independent, what you're actually saying is this: I want to have enough money working for me to provide the income I will require to live the way I choose to live. Now, what you have just covered may cause you to think that you're going to have to quit your present job because you cannot see yourself earning the amount of money you require in your present position. Although that may be true, it does not have to be true. The most important consideration about your daily work is that you love what you do. The amount of money you earn is not the most important consideration. The individuals who live the most fulfilled lives are those individuals who have a very difficult time differentiating between work and pleasure. That, my friend, is a key factor in living the abundant life. The income you earn in your present position may be small, but your overall income could be substantial. Now, that statement would indicate that you would have to have more than one source of income. If you don't, you should. Wealthy people have MSIs. MSI is a term which means multiple sources of income. You can have 100 sources of income. Could have 500 if you wanted. You can even hire people to manage them. Multiple sources of income does not mean multiple jobs. That concept generally leads to an early grave. Multiple sources of income means exactly what it says. The idea that you must work harder or longer hours to earn more money is a myth. It is a concept which is believed and perpetuated by people who are generally very tired and without money. That could represent you or possibly someone you love. You must understand that most of the really wealthy people do not work very hard. They generally love what they do, and they have income coming to them from many sources. It is not difficult to set up multiple sources of income. Anyone can do it. A single mother raising children on her own can set up numerous MSIs. Since this particular power principle is not an educational program on multiple sources of income, I do not have the time at my command to go into the subject of MSIs any further. There is, however, an exciting cassette program with a fortune planner that is at present in production. This program will be released through the International Success Club in the very near future. You want to look for it, because this MSI program will help you earn substantial amounts of money. Once you have determined how much money you want to earn, write this amount on a sheet of paper in large figures. Look at the numbers with the dollar sign beside them and tell yourself over and over again, that amount of money is an effect. It represents a reward I want to receive. What service can I render that would be deserving of that reward? Now, you can take the total figure and divide it into multiple parts. Each part would represent a source of income. Each source of income represents a separate reward that you would receive for a service you would render. Work on one at a time. Each one can become an exciting part of your life. What you are actually doing is thinking of different ways you can be of service to others. You must remember that money is a reward we receive for service rendered. When you understand this basic law, you will understand that the only time you must think about money is when you are deciding how much you want. From that point on, your entire focus, intellectually, emotionally, and physically, must be directed towards providing service. Think of how you can do whatever you are doing more effectively. Think of how you can improve on the quality and the quantity of service that you are rendering. Think of how you can help the people you are helping in a greater way. Remember, money is the ultimate servant. With money, you can provide service in 1,000 places at the same time. The more money you earn, the more you can help others. Remember this: poor people have a poverty consciousness. Wealthy people have a prosperity consciousness. A poverty consciousness will cause you to think and experience a lack of money. A prosperity consciousness will bring you great wealth. To develop a prosperity consciousness, follow the instructions you have been given. Decide exactly how much money you want. Break it into parts. Then forget the money and give all of your attention to providing service. The money must come. Ralph Waldo Emerson said something rich with truth when he stated, "The law of sowing and reaping was the law of laws." Find out what other people want and help them get it. Keep repeating your affirmations until you become truly comfortable with money. A prosperity consciousness will attract to you abundance, and abundance is your birthright.